Hi, this is Andrea Cruz. I am coming back to school after being out of school for the last 20 something years to get my instructor's license, excuse me, for cosmetology. I've been a hairdresser for the last 18 years. So I'm coming back to school to get my degree, and yeah, it's been lots of fun, especially with COVID. And I think this interpersonal speech, which it's so ironic, but this has been the best online class that I've taken. The format is good for it. I love it. It's been a really great class. And being a hairdresser, also, you have a lot of interpersonal communication. So this was beneficial to me in so many ways. So the name that I gave my PowerPoint was "The Sun Shines on Those Who Love Themselves." Um, and I gave it this name because it ends up being about loving who you are. Uh, at first, it has a great cast of characters and actors that really give life to the character. It's just perfectly cast, and and it has every single stage of life in it. That's what I liked about it too. From 11-year-old adolescence, to teenager to middle age to grandpa who was 70 something or 80. He was up there, he was getting older. And the whole entire movie was them stuck in a van together and solving conflicts or having conflicts. And it's all about communication and relationships. And I've seen this movie so many times and I rewatched it and I love it every time. If you haven't seen it, you've got to see it. It's one of the best movies ever. So they're traveling cross country to take Olive to a beauty pageant that she got runner up in a beauty pageant. So, but they live in California and it's all the way in Florida, so they literally have to go cross country, and they decide to drive, and they drive a very old van, which is problematic as well. But just these characters together, which Olive, who's 11, who won the beauty pageant, and Dwayne, her 15-year-old brother, who is very depressed, morose, emo, if you like to call it, didn't speak through most of the movie. Cheryl was the mother, and of course, the glue that held the household together, as moms do. And Richard was her husband, who was very conservative, but they also had Uncle Frank, who was Cheryl's brother, living with them because he had recently gotten out of the hospital. And they also had Grandpa, which was Richard's dad, who got kicked out of the nursing home that he was in for being bad. So, super interesting cast of characters. So the 6 concepts that I'm going over today, the first one was interpersonal communication, and I hope that's okay, but the whole movie was about interpersonal communication. So that's the first concept: self-fulfilling prophecy, Johari's window, assertiveness, acquiescent response, and self-esteem or self-worth. And so concept 1, interpersonal communication, is the process of interacting with another and mutually influencing each other, usually for the purpose of managing relationships. So there was tons of this going on in the movie. There was a good relationship between Grandpa and Olive. I was really close with my grandfather too, so I really connected with that. And he gives her all the self-esteem. She's going to a beauty pageant, and she asked, am I pretty? Is this for me? And he always backs her up and says, you're gorgeous, you're the best. So this was a great relationship. Cheryl and the her brother Frank was really judged a lot by conservative Richard, her husband, and even Grandpa, who wasn't really conservative as he was assertive, so had lots of opinions to give about being a gay man and what had happened to him to get up to this point. So that was an interesting relationship too, but it does everyone ends up being all right. The brother Dwayne communicating is non-existent pretty much through most of the movie, but when he does communicate, it's really something. So concept 2 is a self-fulfilling prophecy, which is a prediction about your future actions that's likely to come true because you believe it. Now, for Richard, the dad, this was his whole shtick. This was what he was basing his whole future success on. He was a motivational speaker, and he had the 9 steps for, success, and he preached it through the whole movie, and everyone was like, enough of the steps, and that was his quest through the whole movie. And he would tell everyone, well, if you envision yourself being a winner, you're gonna win. Are you gonna, he was really focused on that. And so that was really a great obvious example of that in the movie. Concept 3 is Jahari's window. And Dwayne was a good example for that, because Jahari's window is things that are known to others and known to yourself are open, right? Things that are known to yourself and not known to others are hidden. Things that are known to others but not known to yourself are blind spots. And things that are not known to others and not known to self, well, they're unknown. So it was a model of self-disclosure that reflects the movement of information about yourself from blind, unknown quadrants to hidden and open quadrants. So this was great to explain Dwayne, because at 15, there's a lot of all of those going on, right? So what's known to others and known to himself is he's upholding a vow of silence until he gets into flight school. I think that was just a tactic not to have to talk to his family, honestly. He's very introverted, he's depressed, and he's very judgmental of his family and how they are. So something that was known to self but not known to others was the resentment that he really did have towards his family, or thought he had. And he took pleasure in seeing them fight and seeing them struggle, because teenagers can be a little difficult if you've had one. I've had two. So yeah, they're not the easiest. They do things like that aren't the nicest. Things that are known to others but not known to self. Things that he didn't really know and that teenagers don't know is it's normal to be depressed. You've got a lot of hormones going on. It's a normal thing, but he didn't know that he was loved, I think. And he didn't realize that life is going to get better. It's not always everything so horrible, So something that was not known to others and not known to himself, there was something that he found during the course of the trip that caused him to begin to speak to everyone. And when he began to speak, it was quite explosive. It was a really good scene. I tried to put the URL on here, but it's really inappropriate, a lot of inappropriate language. And plus, it's not really working when I click on it. So watch the movie, though. It's amazing. You won't be disappointed. Concept 4 was the type of communication being assertiveness. And this was Grandpa to the T. So he has a tendency to ask for requests, to ask for information, and generally pursue his own rights and best interests. Yeah, this was Grandpa. He was very demanding. He was nosy. He would tell you or ask you anything he felt like it, because he was old enough and he earned that right. And I do know other older people that are just the same way. He actually got evicted from his nursing home for being a heroin addict. And he said, I don't care. I'm old enough. I've lived my life. I could die any day. I can do what I want. And, he told the younger ones, don't ever do that, He wasn't trying to be a bad influence, but he said, you know what? I can do what I want because I'm old. And he never held back opinions. His character was awesome too. Loved it. So concept 5 was acquiescent response, crying, conceding, or apologizing to a hurtful message. And I picked this one for Uncle Frank because he went through a really bad breakup, a really public for his work and bad breakup. And he ended up having a suicide attempt and losing his boyfriend and losing his job. And so that was his response to his breakup. He really lost it. And so he was a good example of this. But being together with family seemed like it was not the right thing at first, but it ended up being really good for him in order to heal. So concept 6 is self-worth or self-esteem. And this is your evaluation of your worth or value based on your perception of such things as skills, abilities, talents, and appearance. So they're going to take Olive to a beauty pageant, right? So no one ever sees the routine that her and grandpa are working on. It's only her and grandpa that are working on this routine. And so they're hidden away, and that we're rehearsing. And like I said, this was all built on, all beauty pageants, right, are built on self-esteem and self-worth. How pretty are you? How talented are you? How skilled are you? What can you do? So Olive was a really good example of this. I don't know if you can see this picture really well, but she was her own little person. She wasn't your typical beauty pageant gal. And so, some kids and children are positively affected by this, and some are negatively affected by this. But her dad was quick to point out, oh, do you want to eat that? Girls in beauty pageants don't eat things like that, like ice cream. And, grandpa, on the other hand, is telling her, no, you eat whatever you want, you be you. And so when she does her final routine, it's really something. And what it boils down to is not about how beautiful you are, but about being yourself and how much you love yourself. And so these were my references. But Little Miss Sunshine, I would really highly recommend that movie. You got to see it. Like I said, it's not about the beauty pageant finally at the end. It's about family. It's about relationships. It's about communication, and it's about loving yourself. And so thank you guys very much.